buying Bitcoin as a corporate, treasury strategy, is that legit?
This has been happening. It's not a majority.
So what was bizarre is, a president coming out and saying that there is a link between autism and Tylenol, and essentially telling the American people do not take Tylenol. I mean, in fact, a major study was done back in 2024 in Sweden involving 2.4 million children, and it did not uphold those claims. So I would say to people watching, don't pay any attention whatsoever to what Donald Trump says about medicine. Now, I am American, and so I do want to see, American jobs go to American workers. And the broader issue in my mind is actually education.
100%.
And it's not the vilification of immigrants.
So I 110% agree with you. There's a lack of focus on education around science and math and STEM and all that stuff in this country, and around the whole culture.
Hello and welcome to Debunked, where we add a dash of scrutiny and a sprinkle of sarcasm and humor to the analysis of healthcare news. I wanted to start with a story that kind of jumped out at me for its wackiness. So there's a company called Semler Scientific. It makes a device called QuantaFlo that is also a test for peripheral artery disease. And, it's been used by Medicare Advantage players like Aetna and United Healthcare. Now, they revealed earlier on in this year that they were being investigated by the DOJ. Basically, for 14, 15 years, what they did was they inflated billing, common in the world of healthcare. Anyway, they did not file their reimbursements properly to the government. And so DOJ came back and said, you know what? You have violated the False Claims Act and we're investigating you. Long story short, earlier in September, they came and said that they've done a settlement with the DOJ and that they're paying a $30 million fine without accepting any fault. Now, this is not uncommon in healthcare. Much larger companies pay fines, accept no fault, they get into a corporate integrity, planning to satisfy DOJ requirements for that settlement. What was wacky to me is that this company that was selling a medical device, suddenly got bought by this company called Strive, which was founded by former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, and it's a corporate treasury company that owns Bitcoin. And this company, Semler Scientific, buys Bitcoin like as a reserve, as like a treasury reserve. And I was sort of surprised that the chairman of the company, executive chairman of the company, Eric Semler, he has a YouTube video calling this process or this strategy as a very sound strategy for any corporation. And it was news to me because I don't know, I'm maybe old and curmudgeonly. Whenever I think of crypto, I think of it's a scam. But it's surprising. I mean, again, the company has lost a big customer that accounted for half of its revenues. I don't know whether that led to the merger with this, corporate treasury company Strive. But I just want to know, you're more in this world than I am, is buying Bitcoin as a corporate, treasury strategy, is that legit?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to call you old.
We're both old. We're both old.
No, but this has been happening. It's not a majority. But I mean, look, Bitcoin is out. Well, Bitcoin, but I'm just going to say crypto is out there, right? So let's just break it down, right? It's high risk, high reward, right? That's what crypto is. That's what, in general, investing in stock and things like that is. So they're taking their cash reserves, they're taking their margins, and they're basically buying Bitcoin or buying crypto. And so if you really break it down, they're kind of inflating their value, right? Because they're doing it with reserves or they're doing it with cash that they're making, and they're buying crypto. And so if crypto is going up, they're basically inflating their balance sheet, but that is not directly tied to income that's being generated off of the actual products being sold.
Exactly.
Right? So Vivek and team buying this, they ain't buying it for the reimbursable device. They're buying it because dude had a lot of Bitcoin. Right. Now Bitcoin has surged 900% in the last 5 years.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
From 10 grand to over $100,000 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this company has basically inflated its value because those investments are parked under the company's balance sheet.
I mean, you're right. I mean, the interesting thing is that through the merger now of these two companies, this is one of the, I think, the 12th largest corporate Bitcoin holder.
Yeah, because the guy was basically just
buying it
like left and right.
Yeah.
And even if you go look at Strive has actually been making moves the last 6 months too, right? They've been acquiring a lot of Bitcoin.
So I guess
it's a strategy that this asset management company had, that they wanted to go acquire more crypto. They're bullish and high on Bitcoin.
What other companies have this sort of strategy that you're aware of?
So like Tesla's done this, right, in the past. Overstock has done this. MicroStrategies has done this.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these companies have actually even talked about paying shareholder dividends through Bitcoin or through crypto, right?
Yeah.
So look, this stuff ain't going away.
It's new in healthcare, though.
It's new in healthcare.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say something here, okay?
Say it.
But I have to make sure I say this from a legal perspective.
Okay.
Jose, I'm talking to you, my lawyer. So, I want to make sure I don't get in trouble. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. So this is just my opinion.
Yes.
Okay? Do your homework. First and foremost, have a corporate governance structure. You got to get board approval to go do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have compliance, regulatory, accounting practices, all this sort of stuff. So it's not willy-nilly. And I'm sure these guys did the same thing, right? They're following the rule. And some of this stuff is really unclear because there's federal jurisdiction around crypto management and tax and compliance.
You mean regulation?
Regulation stuff. Yeah. But then there's also, from a state perspective, it's very different, right?
Okay.
So depending on what state you're operating in, depending on what state your business is set up and all those sorts of things. So there's a little bit of uncertainty about this stuff. So, I mean, again, just my opinion, something companies are going to continue to look into.
Right.
Because why not? I mean, if you can go, quote unquote, inflate your value. Now, the funny thing is, you're not inflating the value based on the product that you're selling. It's just you're basically basing it on
digital asset.
On your digital assets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than like you and I taking money and going and taking money that you're earning through your job.
Yeah.
And then you decide to go, put it into a interest savings account, or you're going and buy stock with it.
That's tied to real money. This is
no, but it is. No, I get it. But but imagine if you did the same thing and you just I went and bought Bitcoin in the past.
Yeah.
Right? So like
Did you ever buy anything with Bitcoin?
No,
that's
I didn't.
My question.
No, I didn't. I didn't. But there are things, there are services, there are companies that actually do take Bitcoin. Now, they're not in like, you can't go to a grocery store and be like, all right, I'm going to buy my groceries from Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Or from crypto. But I don't think that let's just put it this way. I don't think we're 100 years away from that.
Okay.
I don't think we're 50 years away from that.
Okay.
I think, again, I'm not predicting anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're like 5 years away from that or something.
Okay. So definitely within our lifetimes.
Yeah. And crypto is not leaving anytime soon. I mean, like you got Robinhood, Coinbase, you got all these platforms, but then now you have major investment banks who are doing coverage on crypto.
Okay.
So I just don't think that it's something to ignore. It's just not a major thing. So when this news came out, it was kind of like, interesting, especially because it's in our world of healthcare.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to be that far few between. I think we're going to see it a lot more
interesting
often than not.
Yeah. Curious, very curious.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
So from curious, interesting to the truly bizarre, I am referring, of course, to the long White House press conference that was about autism and Tylenol and an unproven.
Isn't this the what did White House do lately? New segment.
I know. I've gotten tired of that segment. like
this is what it is.
I thought we would have that segment
wrapped up.
No, not wrapped up, but not every.
No, it's gonna be
every episode. But looks like every episode, what did the administration do now, has to make an appearance. So I guess here it is. So what was bizarre is, a president coming out and saying that there is a link between autism and Tylenol, and essentially telling the American people, do not take Tylenol. I mean, imagine, he's basically telling pregnant mothers, don't take Tylenol, tough it out, because hey, if you take Tylenol, your child might have autism. But then fever in a pregnant woman is a big risk. What do they do? It's not a question of the pain, it's a question of the risk to the baby, right? And so that wasn't really addressed. And I think they relied on some smaller, older studies that showed a link between Tylenol and autism. But it was an association, and association doesn't mean causation. And from what my understanding, even in those studies, if you factored in the genetic component, those associations melted away. And so I felt really sad and depressed. I felt really bad about, the American people. What are we telling, as president, what are you telling people? Fight like hell not to take Tylenol? I just didn't understand it. The unproven treatment that was being touted, again, does it provide false hope to people with autism? It was all very depressing. And what was depressing to watch, even from a patriotic standpoint, was how other countries were responding. I saw a segment on CNN about how a British health minister, the Secretary of State and Social Care, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Wes Streeting, he went out on television. I'm going to read it out loud to the audience here. This is what he said. He said, "I've just got to be really clear about this. There is no evidence to link the use of paracetamol." Paracetamol is the drug compound.
Acetaminophen in America.
Acetaminophen in America, paracetamol in the UK. So he says there is no evidence to link the use of paracetamol by pregnant women to autism in their children. None. In fact, a major study was done back in 2024 in Sweden involving 2.4 million children, and it did not uphold those claims. So I would say to people watching, don't pay any attention whatsoever to what Donald Trump says about medicine. In fact, don't even take my word for it as a politician. Listen to British doctors, British scientists, the NHS. And the NHS is the National Health Service in the UK. And I kept thinking, okay, so the British citizens will look to their British doctors. And who will Americans look up to? Will they look up to, they can't look up to the the corresponding entity of NHS. There was Robert K. Jr. standing behind Donald Trump. There was Dr. Oz standing behind, and no one said, no, this is not true, Mr. President. They allowed him to tell the American people something that is just misinformation, for lack of a better term. And so I'm really concerned about that. To Dr. Oz's credit, the very next day, when he was asked this question, I believe it was on Fox News, he answered, take Tylenol judiciously. He didn't take President Trump's extreme position that never take Tylenol. He said, take it when it's necessary. But that's true about any medicine. You're not going to just pop pills for the sake of popping pills. And Tylenol, really?
Saving grace, Miss Dr. Oz. Would you ever think that? Right?
I'm glad someone said something, even though not directly challenging him. But it is very depressing. It truly is.
What can you say here? What more can you say here? Right? I think you have bigger issues, maybe mental health issues, if you're going to take healthcare and medical advice from a politician or from the White House.
It has happened before.
Yes, I remember COVID.
Yes.
I remember when COVID, okay. But honestly, right? I think, this is where we've come to now. Now we're getting warnings from politicians and White House on over-the-counter medication, right?
That has been safe, and we've used it for decades.
So, I think the bottom line is, it is sad that we don't have current administration or certain leaders in the administration that are not following clinical or scientific evidence, right? So what is a person to do, right? To your point,
Yeah.
I think it's very clear. You shouldn't be doing this regardless who's in power, but like go talk to your doctor.
I know.
Get a second opinion, get a third opinion. There's no this is just for ego, for attention, for likes.
No, he must believe it to say it
But
so loudly,
you know what though? No, I honestly don't think so. I think it's completely for likes, comments, rhetoric, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's addressing the UN. Oh, guess what we're all talking about? We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Donald Trump.
No, I mean, I'm not denying that, but I think he changes positions on stuff when he is similarly influenced. I just think that he's surrounded himself with people that are not necessarily, following established science. I think that is what is difficult. And he's not an inquiring mind, from my understanding, right? He's not going to go read up that study that was mentioned by the UK minister. So tough times.
I mean, I don't. Sure, on all those points. I honestly don't believe in all that stuff. I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to he just wants attention. All that stuff, I don't even know. I feel like he actually might even believe certain things, but it doesn't matter. It's all about attention. It's all about likes. It's about focus. It's about attention. And I think that's his number one priority, is attention and the spotlight. So I honestly believe that. I really do. Because I guarantee you, if those people came around and told him, no, it's safe, you think he's not going to believe them? I honestly believe that it doesn't matter. It's what he decides that morning that he wants from an attention perspective, and where he wants you to point the marker. Oh, here it is. And so, look, and the funny thing, not funny, is, I mean, you're sitting there in the UN General Assembly and saying this stuff, right? Other countries are basically laughing at us, right?
Oh, he didn't say this at the.
I mean, you know
at the
my
UN.
point, but my point is they're probably sitting there laughing as well because they're thinking about those comments.
And
right?
that's the sad thing. I mean, we are the highly coveted nation in terms of immigration, in terms of scientific innovation, in terms of freedom. This is what, we've been a beacon to the world for so long, and now that position is challenged. But again, we voted him into power, so we have no right to.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is just listen to your doctors.
Yes.
Don't listen to your politicians.
Listen to your doctors. Listen to your doctors. I think that is truly important. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is actually also related to the Trump administration. And I wanted to address it partly because I'm an immigrant to the U.S. and partly because I was curious about it. Well, not all.
Yes, we are.
Not you and I are.
Yes, we are.
I don't think all are.
No. Only the Native Americans, all right, Native Indians are the original. We're all immigrants. What the hell? You think the Polish and the Irish that came here, Italians came here?
Well,
they're not immigrants?
Okay,
they're all immigrants.
We are direct immigrants, or they are children of immigrants. Okay,
yeah,
so
sure,
I will make that
second degree, third degree, fourth degree, whatever.
I will make that adjustment to Samir's comment. So the question is about the H-1B visa program. I think most of you know that the Congress allows 85,000 H-1B visa holders to come to the U.S. These are foreign workers that are brought to the U.S. to work here. And there is some legitimate concern that U.S. employers have abused that system. They have brought in workers cheaply from other countries, especially India. India, my nation, my country of birth, I should say, has benefited tremendously as a result of that. And so there is some truth to the fact that employers have abused the system by not hiring not hiring Americans who could probably do the same job but would charge more. I think there's some truth to that. So I agree with the criticism that this program has been abused. Now, how Mr. Trump responded was suddenly made an announcement that employers would not have to pay $100,000 for H-1B visa holders. And when there was a huge
one time?
No, not one time.
Okay.
He didn't say that one time.
Okay.
It was going to be an annual thing.
Wow.
So there was
subscription agreement.
It was a subscription agreement, and then there was a huge outcry, and then his administration came out and clarified that no, it is not an annual payment. It's a one-time payment and only for new visa applications. So if you have,
okay.
employees on H-1B visas prior to this time,
Sure.
you're okay. You don't have to pay for it. So, so here's my thinking. I do agree that there's some abuse of the system.
Yeah.
And I also think the flip side of it, that we don't have enough workers that can do the job when it comes to math and science. So we need to export this sort of skill set to the US. But before I launch into the broader argument of what I think is being missed, I want to look at sort of healthcare and what we do in terms of H-1B visas in healthcare. So this is what I learned, and this came from the Nonpartisan Migration Policy Institute. They said that there were 141,205 new H-1B visas approved in fiscal year 2024.
Okay.
And of those, only 8,492 went to people in the medicine and health fields.
That's a pretty small percentage.
Pretty small percentage. Overall, not overall, in terms, that was new applications only.
Okay.
And this is the renewals, because there are people that are on H-1B visas, you need to renew them annually. So of those, 258,190 H-1B visas were approved for renewals in that same fiscal 2024. And of them, 8,445 were in the medicine and health fields.
So even a smaller percentage.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are healthcare workers.
Yep.
And then of those 8,400 figures,
you really got into the numbers.
I got into the weeds. 4,006 of the 8,492 new H-1B workers, and 4,551 of 8,445 renewal visa holders were renewed for, these people were physicians and surgeons. Okay. So even a smaller subset.
Sure.
Okay. Now, let me say that compared to the tech industry, this is nothing. But I would like to talk on the broader issue, right? And the broader issue in my mind is actually education.
100%.
And it's not the vilification of immigrants. Now, I am American, and so I do want to see, American jobs go to American workers.
Sure.
So what do we need American schools, American parents to do? So American schools need to push math and STEM education, from the elementary school stage, and parents. So we need a cultural change and an educational change. Why am I saying cultural? Cultural change in terms of, our parents at home telling their kids, switch off TV, stop watching sports, or reduce watching and playing sports. Right. And you know what? Do your math homework. Stop watching TikTok. Stop spending money on Sephora. and actually sit down and do your math. That is what American parents need to be telling their children. And until that happens, we're going to have to continue to export talent from other parts of the world. Now, are they all supremely talented that are coming here? No, I do agree that some abuse of the system is happening. People are, I've heard of American workers training their replacement workers, which is absolutely horrible, and employers should be held accountable. But if you want to truly get to the heart of why American tech industry needs foreign workers, it is this lack of skill. And it's happening because people in the heartland, people in the South, people in the East, people in the West, all over the nation, they are not focused on math and science. Today, you're competing with Indian and Chinese workers. Tomorrow, you're going to be competing with AI. And if you're not telling your children to focus on this, okay, now you have immigrants that you can vilify. Who are you going to vilify when it's technology, right? So that's I got on my soapbox. I'm off it. Now it's to you.
No, it's good. This is pretty funny to me because there's one party in this country that is really focused on, hey, you know what? Less government oversight, survival of the fittest, free reign on industry, right? Like companies need to just work, right? You can't make it, you cutthroat, all that sort of stuff. So it's funny that political party who happens to be in charge in administration, is sitting there going,
You can say Republican Party.
I don't care. It's like Voldemort. I don't say the word. Right?
Oh my God! Now this is Samir. I gotta say, okay. I don't consider the Republican Party freaking Voldemort. I mean, come on,
I'm just
Samir.
messing with you guys. But my point is that it's pure hypocrisy, right? We're gonna sit here, so we're gonna basically just take the shortcut, right? So to your point, the shortcut is, oh, let's just stop the H-1Bs coming in, right? But at the same time, you're sitting there going, I want to open up free innovation. I want survival of the fittest. I want less government control. Well, this was just government control right there. So I 110% agree with you. There's a lack of focus on education around science and math and STEM and all that stuff in this country and around the whole culture. So instead of doing this or doing this as well, which I agreed that there's abuse. Look, man, there's abuse in every system. Okay. So I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
There's people abusing it. But okay, so same thing. You want to curb the abuse. Great. Do that from a regulatory perspective, which you're trying to do. But then go and fund education and STEM instead of like, we don't even have a Department of Education. I mean, are you serious right here? Right? Like, so you're basically taking the shortcut. You're not addressing the root cause. So I'm completely agreeing with you. But it's this culture. It's not just the education programs or option to getting these like educational services. It's the cultural shift. It's the mindset shift, right? It's this shift of like, it's got to be the most important thing. I mean, we grew up in South Asian households. I don't have to tell what was the first thing and the last thing that was the importance. I'm not saying it was right or wrong. Right?
Oh my God!
But it was like math, it was like education, education. It's pounded into you, right?
It is pounded into you.
It's pounded into you.
Yeah.
Right. That this is the path
to success.
Of success. Right. This is the path to have you stand up on your own 2 feet and provide for yourself and your future family or whatever you want to do with that. Right. So systematically, you have to change the foundation and the culture of that. And it's not something that was not deeply rooted in American culture. I mean, if you go back to the Industrial Revolution and stuff, it was deeply rooted like that. Right? That's where the roots come from. But it has eroded. And so people have taken advantage and said, well, where as a business, I need to operate a business. I need to control cost and I need talent to provide, to build these services that we all enjoy today, right? So they started importing that talent. Now, India, China, those places, you're not going to be able to compete from a sheer population perspective.
There's too many.
Right? There's just too much. There's just too many. I mean, so I think this is a fundamental issue that you brought up that is very, very important. Now, if you take it from a healthcare perspective, which is really fascinating to me, because the percentages that you mentioned are so small. But do you know that all those overseas workers, when they come over here for healthcare, they have to get re-credentialed on top of it.
Right. So they are really giving up many years of salary making.
Yeah, but they're willing to do it because of the opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
So yes, the doctor thing that you were mentioning and the nurse thing, but the bigger influx, especially in the 70s and 80s, was nurses.
Yes.
English-speaking Indian nurses from the South.
Or even Philippines.
And Philippines.
Yeah.
So I literally have friends whose moms, a lot of moms,
were nurses,
are Indian and Filipino nurses.
And their kids became doctors.
Or they became nurses, whatever it was.
Yep.
So it was, and you want to talk about that right now? Nursing shortage
is still there.
It's still massive.
It's still there.
So like you should probably be like supplementing that.
Yeah.
Right. But then here, if you go look at how many people are actually going into the healthcare workforce.
Yes.
Nursing school, all this stuff. It's far and few between. It's actually becoming even more difficult to get into those fields.
Right.
So how are you helping and preparing, right, the future workers of US to sort of get into healthcare, medical, or technology fields? I mean, in a lot of these countries we're talking about, there's higher education options that are completely free to their population. In Europe, most college
is free.
It's free.
Right.
So we're just putting ourselves behind the 8 ball even more and more if we don't address the issue at the root cause. No. I'm not saying that you don't attack abuse with H1 and all that sort of stuff. I get all that stuff. But you fundamentally need to also address it at the root cause, which you mentioned. It is culture, it's education.
Right.
right? So that's really where it's at.
And I truly believe that, yes, in South Asian cultures where I grew up, in India where I grew up, things are pounded into you. But something that is not pounded into you is your ability to innovate and be creative, which is such an American value. So if you combine that
it's so powerful.
Grit and just nose grinding,
yeah,
to the, just grinding in terms of doing math and science and all of that. And I'm saying this as a non-science student.
Right.
I was awful at it, but I see the value of it. I mean, I flunked all the time.
You know the funny
you
thing,
combine those things.
Yeah.
You can combine the American innovative spirit with that focus on math and science
and opportunity
and
opportunity.
It, right? Then you don't need foreign workers. But that is a huge leap. And I really hope that American parents, not that American parents are watching this show, but if you are, please,
but it's so true. So true.
Focus on that. It will go a long way towards not only your child's future, but to the future of this nation.
One small last example, right, is if you look at some of these out-of-pocket programs that exist for students, right, for kids, our kids go to them, right, like RSM, right, Russian School of Math. If you go look at the enrollment there, even in this country today,
it's
70-80%. They're all South Asians and Asians.
Asians, yeah.
So
and
even
some
there,
Russians, I've seen some Russians.
But my point is, again, they're all like outsiders.
It's sad.
That are continuing to foster that credo into their families and be them second or third generations in this country.
Right. Sad. Okay, we're going to switch to the final and less heavy, no pun intended, topic. And that is Pfizer buying a company called Metsera for $5 billion.
Yes.
Now Pfizer has some trouble in the GLP-1 races compared to like a Lilly or Novartis, and Metsera is a company that has, I believe, a platform of weight loss products. So this caught my eye. How significant is this?
It is. It's huge because I think here's the thing. You got to keep up with the Joneses, right? And Pfizer's history has not, they haven't done well in this whole GLP-1 race. They've had a lot of failures, let's just put it this way. And so I think this is really smart because this is very similar to like, a big technology company, even in our space, in healthcare, like all the med device companies, when they go buy FDA cleared devices and stuff like that. Look, innovation is hard at a large company, right? And Metsera is not a small company, but my point is they're a very focused company. Pfizer's got like hundreds of brands. They've got OTC, they've got this, they've got that.
Sure.
So I think this is really smart because GLP-1 is, we're in this fascination stage, but I think the fascination stage has proven that it's here to stay, right? We can talk about the effectiveness and longitudinal studies or data is not there yet. But the point is, it does work in its concept and in its actual results. But you have to keep up with advancements in this space. So I think them making this move is actually brilliant. I think it's actually really smart because these guys, the guys that they bought, they're playing around with, look, the future of GLP-1 is going to be titration, dosage, right, and an impact. So if you look at even dosage, and form, right? So like weekly dosage, right? They're testing monthly dosage, right?
Interesting.
And they're testing oral, right? So, I mean, you're talking about unlocking huge gains in the market from an access perspective, right? And so what does oral and monthly bring to you? It brings you better margins, right? So you're kind of controlling your CAC and you're increasing your LTV on top of that. So I think it's a brilliant move. I think it's a really smart move. It's a smart move from both parties.
Yes.
And I think you're going to see more and more of that. I think you're going to see more and more of this happening.
Great.
So,
well, on that note, we'll close out this episode. Thank you for watching Debunked, and keep writing to us at debunked@medcitynews.com.